Hi there, this is Scott Young from Optrix Engineering, and I wanted to give you another tip for all our clients and friends and colleagues who are IT managers and IT administrators. Uh, and this one we recently posted on our optrixinsider.com blog, and it's actually an article from one of our partners called Manage Engine, and it's on productivity for our remote workers. Remote work being productive in a pandemic. Now, this is a good and timely article, I think, because hopefully we're a few weeks into the pandemic and the dust is settled, and now you're kind of taking a step back and you're saying, okay, everyone's working from home. We think it's going well. Now, what do we need to look at? So, this is that kind of article, and I'm just going to go and bring out some highlights and offer some suggestions for you. So, the first thing I wanted to point out is that a poll recently conducted by Threatpost said that about 52% of respondents said that their organizations are mostly prepared but still has groups of employees that present challenges in work from home situations. Now, this brings up an interesting point for a couple of reasons. First off, is not everybody is going to be tech savvy or comfortable or even aware of how to use some of these remote tools. And I'm specifically thinking about Skype, or they're talking about email collaboration, or making voice and video calls, or even hosting web conference or virtual seminars with tools like Zoom or GoToMeeting, WebEx, or what have you. So certainly take some time to talk to your employees and make sure that they're familiar and comfortable with them and they know how to use them and they even know how to access them. So that's certainly something to consider. The other is security concerns. How can you ensure that somebody's home computer is patched and has the latest antivirus software set up? So we'll talk about that in a bit. And finally, is now that everybody's working from home and how do you make sure that they're productive? Because there's certainly a number of distractions at home, cleaning, vacuuming, Netflix, doing laundry, having to keep your kids busy if that's something that's in your world, um, social media, etc. Lots of distractions. So, what can you do to just keep an eye on things and just keep your staff motivated, on point? And here are some tools that you can do that with. Now, Manage Engine has a unified endpoint management solution called Desktop Central. And I can say from our experience as a Manage Engine partner is this is an incredibly popular and very well received tool. What it does well is remoting into a client's computer or a staff member's computer when there's a problem and seeing what's going on. Taking remote control, I know we use it in the office all the time, and it works really well. The other thing is to make sure that all the computers are patched, and you can do those even if even if the computer is remote. So you could certainly deploy an agent on a home computer and take care of that. Now, from a productivity perspective, is you can also tell when somebody's logged in and logged out. So that's, I guess, a virtual way of doing a timestamp. One other thing that we do in our office is we use an internal instant messenger service, and we check in every day, let each other know when we're available, not available, when we're taking lunch breaks, and it just is a good way of keeping tabs on everybody. Plus, we still do weekly meetings to make sure everybody knows what's going on. The other thing that Desktop Central does well is it can also meter the usage of various applications and network devices, as well as provide a number of hours employees use commercial applications for remote work. So if your boss comes in and says, how can we tell if people are logged in and employees or how much time they're actually working? Well, Desktop Central has a way of doing that as well. Plus, you can also deploy remotely antivirus software onto remote devices even though they're outside the corporate network. So that's great. Now, another thing that it does well is integrate with Helpdesk solutions. So with Manage Engine, Service Desk Plus is the one that they use, which is or offer, which is very popular, and you can help uh, resolve requests and show what actions are taken and viewed in a single console, which is nice. The other thing is, I'm sure you cringe when you wake up and you go to the office and you're just not sure how many tickets you have to deal with that day. One thing to help take tickets off your desk is if a user wants something installed on the computer, there's a way of automatically installing it once you have approved it. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out is that with phones, so everybody is working from home, and unless you've got a cloud enabled soft phone or a way of managing getting phones onto from the office to the your remote users without them actually being in the office, you're relying on either corporate cell phones or you're relying on them using their own phones, especially smartphones. So how do you manage those? Well, Desktop Central has a way of doing that, so that's certainly another plus for Desktop Central, but they also have a tool called Mobile Device Manager Plus, which is another way of efficiently blocking security threats and monitoring and managing remote mobile devices. So that's certainly something in the BYOD, bring your own device world, that is available. The final thing I wanted to bring up is remote access. So I mentioned before, Desktop Central does that well. You might have another tool that you use. I know LogMeIn is another tool. Dameware had a tool. I'm sure SolarWinds has a tool. But specifically with Manage Engine, they have Remote Access Plus, where you can remote in, initiate a chat, voice, and video call. But the other thing that's really nice is that you can record the entire session for review. Now, why is that important? Well, certainly there's the training aspect where you can keep an eye on what the technician did, and you can go back and review that with them and see what you did well, what was tricky, and what can do better. The other thing is, heaven forbid, down the road, an employee claims that the tech did something they shouldn't have and had follow-on consequences. If you recorded the session, then you can go back and confirm whether it actually happened or it didn't. So just something that you can keep an eye on there. There's a bunch of other things in this article that are worth reading, but those are the main highlights. I'm just going to close by saying that if you are interested in looking at Desktop Central and or Mobile Device Manager Plus, because you don't have a tool that can patch and manage remotely desktops or mobile devices, you can click on these links. It'll take you to a website where you can download a 30-day trial and try it for yourself. No obligation, certainly do that. If you have a question about any of these products, certainly give us a shout. You can email us at info@optrix.com. Again, that's info@optrix.com. As well as you can also click on the Contact Us form, fill it out, it'll go to us and we'll respond to your question. But outside of that, here are some ideas on how to make sure that your employees, now that they're working from home, are productive and secure and safe. And you could use these tools. There's lots of other tools, but these are the ones at least we're recommending. Hope you, your staff, and your family are all safe and sound and healthy. We'll get through this pandemic. But in the meantime, here are some thoughts for you. Take care, and we'll chat soon. Bye for now.